Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Volume 6. This is Volume 6, Crisis on Counter-Earth, and yes, that is Adam Warlock from the Infinity Trilogy and the Hulk battling it out, and they are on Earth 2 or Counter-Earth. Well, I guess it's not called Earth 2, it's called Counter-Earth. Here's the side of it, and so far I've reviewed the first two Hulk Omnis, and then volumes 5 and now 6. And just in between this video and my last one, Incredible Hulk Omnibus Volume 3 was announced. So, and that will go up to issue 170. So if you get this epic collection, you will be double dipping on everything but 8 issues. And in all honesty, only like issues 171 and 172 I think are worth getting. So it's not too bad of a double dip if you want to get... Oh, it is a very, very bad double dip. What was I saying? Anyway, I'm just talking. This collects stories from 1972 to 1974. And there's a lot of good villains in here. This is only one issue. I know in the second omnibus, Hulk and the Inhumans met 2 times at least. And yes, in this moment in history, Quicksilver and Crystal were a couple and on the Inhuman team. Medusa at the time was working with the Fantastic Four, I think. Anyway, don't want to give all that away, because we're talking about the Hulk here, not that. So you open it up. Yeah, this is also not in that good of a condition when I got it. I got it from Target online, so, you know, whatever. Hulk Volume 6 collects issues 157 to 178. Here's the stories and what month the cover date is on them. And it all starts off, because, like I said, I have read issue 171 before, but I had, like, no context, so it wasn't that memorable. But yes, it starts off with Hulk fighting the Rhino once again. Yay, Rhino, the Spider-Man villain. Rhino's there, and he gets woken up by a blast. And it turns out that it was the leader. Once again, the leader is using the Rhino, and the trick here is that the leader swaps minds with the Rhino, so the leader's mind is in the Hulk's body. And the leader is alive. He's a cut-off head. But he's in a specially, like, AI spaceship. Anyway, Hulk meets Jim again. What was his name? Jim Robertson or something? Anyway, Rhino with the leader's brain fights the Hulk. And he gets shot off into Counter-Earth. Yes, already we're reading about Counter-Earth. Except at this time, the Rhino gets his memory back, his normal Alex O'Hearn brain in his body. And they go to Counter-Earth, and Adam Warlock shows up here for 2 panels, and that's it, until they go back to Counter-Earth at the very end. I think that's the High Evolutionary. He's only in, like, these 2 panels as well. Or 3, I guess. Hulk busts out with the Rhino. Well, actually, Rhino was on... Okay, so the Hulk ends up on the side of the Resistance. Oh my gosh, I just remember how cool these stories are now to talk about. I mean, they're typical, but they're fun. Rhino is on the side of the enemies. I know, classic storytelling. So the 2 big brutes fight each other in this war. Leader sees this all. Anyway, Hulk goes back. And at this time, Betty Ross and General Talbot were in love with each other, and they actually got married. And the Hulk returns to Earth. And now we're on to Hulk versus the Abomination. Yet again, what happened to Abomination? I think this is after Silver Surfer, issue 13. Where Abomination... Well, he's risen again. He's back because of a crazy missile that just dropped onto where he was buried under a bunch of sludge, I guess. I said I guess. I know that's what happened. The thing is, General Ross tries to capture the Hulk. He ends up capturing the Abomination instead, since Abomination is more... having a human brain. General Ross decides to send Abomination after the Hulk, and he loses. But anyway, this is a story, an issue I read before. Tiger Shark. Hulk goes to Niagara Falls to find Betty Ross because he still has a crush on her. Because her and General Talbot are on a honeymoon there. But Hulk just ends up fighting Tiger Shark, who is also hiding out there after his adventures in the Namor stories. Because he killed, well, I shouldn't spoil that until I talk about Submariner, should I? And then we get this issue with the Beast and this guy called Mimic, who is dying because he's mimicking so many powers. Or he's not dying, but he's about to explode. So the Beast is there to help cure him. And yes, Beast looks like this at the time. When he gets blue fur, he looks more like a monster. Anyway, Mimic has changed his ways. I think he was the villain in X-Men issue 29 or something. And then Hulk fights Wendigo. Yes, the famous villain Wendigo. Or I say famous because Wendigo is the villain from Wolverine's first appearance, which happens in the next Epic Collection, which is actually titled after Wolverine, or the story. Anyway, Hulk is in Canada, and he tries to help some girl and find her brother. But I think her brother was mutated into the Wendigo, because that's what just the Wendigo does. And it's actually a really cool fight. My camera. The Gremlin. This took me for a surprise. The Gremlin is alive. Hulk's very first villain is in here. Not really. It's actually his son. So the Gremlin is hiding out, planning to take over the world. Hulk just accidentally stumbles into his plans. And the end. Okay, now these next 2 or 3 issues are I did not like them. The worst part of this Epic Collection, issues 164 to 166, I think. Hulk basically finds an underwater group of people who lived underwater for generations, so their skin is pink, and they're adjusted to the natural pressure. I don't know why they stayed underwater, I forget that. There's this mega shark villain Hulk fights called Aquanon, I think. What was his name? I didn't even... Yeah, oh no, Aquan, whatever. The twist at the very end, though, they all get to the surface, like how the Resistance, another Resistance that Hulk's a part of, wanted to do. They go to the Earth, to the surface, and they explode because of the pressure they were under. Well, it's so loose up there on land as opposed to underwater. They all blow up. Oh, I guess that was only 6. Oh, sorry, that was only 2 issues. I forgot. Another amazing, yeah, this is definitely where I think more modern day Hulk is happening in this issue. Or sorry, in this Epic Collection. Hulk versus his villain, probably most well known for being at the very end of the Marvel Comics alphabet, Zax, the living dynamo. Or something like that, whatever. And yeah, Zax looks super different. He looks more like a flaming, like he's on fire instead of electricity on the cover, but he's back. Just an accident created Zaz. If you guys remember the TV show Word Girl from like 2008, maybe the show ended in 2008, I forget, but anyway, there was this film that was basically a ripoff, and the accident was just like someone spilled soda and pressed a bad button or something like that. Almost like the exact same ridiculousness that created Zax in the comics. Oh yeah, Hawkeye appears in the first appearance of Zax too. And he actually defeats Zax by basically grounding Zax with an arrow, but the arrow goes into the water, so Zax's body, uncontrolling, goes into the water. Oh, and this side, okay, so that happens, and then there's a side mission where General Ross was captured by China or Russia or something like that, and General Thunderbolt Ross and a new colonel called Colonel Armbuster break him out, but Ross escapes, but Talbot apparently gets killed. It's revealed that just a few, he gets killed. 4 panels later, he's still alive, and they don't really do anything with that so far. Hulk issue 167, yay, MODOK is here. Hulk versus MODOK, and MODOK is in this ginormous metal body, and his plan is to manipulate Betty Ross to defeat the Hulk, because MODOK just thinks Hulk is one of the only people who can stop him, and Betty has gone a little bit crazy since her husband has been killed. Not much with MODOK here. I mean, he loses to the Hulk because Hulk just tears apart his giant metal machine. He basically manipulates Betty Ross and her state to go crazy, and he turns her into this monster called the Harpy. This is the first time I remember that she's ever mutated into a creature. Of course, later she would become a member of the Hulk family, like She-Hulk. Very much like She-Hulk. I'll just leave it at that. And then there's this city in the clouds in the next time that's hidden, and this is when the Hulk first meets the Bi-Beast. And I always thought Bi-Beast was a supervillain, but he's actually pretty chill. I actually really like this character here. He's just there, he just wants to help save his planet. MODOK invades and fights Bi-Beast as well. They all escape, and Hulk goes to this random island. I thought this was going to be a continuation of the last story, because of these monsters, but Hulk just goes on a random island. And a lot of it is actually no action, just Hulk slowly being himself, something that you would see from the live-action 70s TV show. And then here we go. So if there's a Hulk Omnibus Volume 4, of the classic age. This is what the next issue would start off as. And I think Marvel Essential, my first Marvel Essential Hulk that I ever picked up, I think it was volume 5. It started with this issue right here. The Hulk at Bay. The Rhino and the Abomination teaming up to fight the Hulk. This was a back cover of that Marvel Essential, and I still think it looks so cool. Anyway, Hulk is back on Earth. Betty Ross is reunited with her father. Talbot is still presumed dead, and so Abomination and Rhino, just off page, I guess, found each other and decided to team up to destroy the base for revenge. But Hulk stops them. Actually, they kind of stop themselves. They run into each other. Kind of anticlimactic. The next issue has the X-Men villain Juggernaut, and it basically is a explanation on him returning. Oh yeah, General Armbuster betrays the Hulk, so to speak, and captures him because he was about to be nice with General Ross, but then of course, just escaped out of his grasp. Somehow, I haven't read all the X-Men stuff, so Juggernaut was put into this dimension to get rid of him. And by putting Hulk in that dimension, the Juggernaut was able to escape. And Juggernaut apparently is stronger than Hulk, or just as strong. So they bust out together. And then Juggernaut just being a giant douche, attacking a random family on the road, and Hulk fights Juggernaut. And the X-Men show up for like one page, if that. Yeah, Hulk is throwing Juggernaut around. His helmet just pops off. What the heck? And he goes flying to a mountain. And Professor X knocks him out with his mind burst. So does Jean Grey. So does Cyclops with his optic blasts. Anyway. And then here we go. Issue 173. The Cobalt Man, who is a X-Men villain from X-Men issue 31. He just wanted to get more power, so he goes on to like an atomic... A plan started testing an atomic bomb to get more power in his suit. Something like that. It was kind of just fast to read. Hulk crashes onto the Inhumans land, turns back into Bruce Banner. Then he turns into Hulk again and fights the Inhumans, and they have to get rid of him. So it reminds me a little bit of Planet Hulk, where they had to shoot Hulk into space to get rid of him. That's basically what happens at the end of this story. The Inhumans have to get rid of Hulk, so they sacrifice this tower that they built. Yeah, and they make a big deal about Black Bolt using his voice, but it knocks the Hulk out. The next 3 issues are all about Counter-Earth. I thought it was going to be a lot more, but it's just Bruce Banner crashes on the Counter-Earth, and you don't see the Bruce Banner on Counter-Earth as you do in the last Epic Collection. So just let me pause. Okay, but anyway. Oh, what? Did something happen to my video? Anyway, Man-Beast, the villain Man-Beast, is president, or has taken over for the president, mind-controlling him. Hulk fights Adam Warlock for, I don't even think he really does it. It's just what the comic shows. He gets, tricked, mind-controlled in a way, by the Man-Beast, and they fight. Adam Warlock gets crucified and dies, but he comes back to life. He gets kind of rebirthed, just like from his cocoon from his first appearances in Fantastic Four, before he was even known as Adam Warlock. They stop Man-Beast, and Adam Warlock goes away, and Hulk just stays on Counter-Earth, I think, sad. And I don't know how he gets back to human Earth, so we'll see. I know there's a lot to look at this. This is in, I think, the Warlock Marvel Essential and the Warlock Omnibus, these 3 stories. They have a crossword puzzle for Marvel Comics. This is from Foom. Hunt the Hawk, I guess that's a game. Some things. I don't know. And then sketches. So, would I recommend this? Yes, I would. Holy moly, this was probably my favorite Epic Collection so far. And yeah, I know I always say that, Omnibus Volume 2 is better than Volume 1. Oh, Epic Collection 6 is better than Epic 5. Yeah, but it's true. They just keep getting better and better. And before this, it was announced that the Bill Mantlo run of Hulk, which will be Epic Collection Volume 10, is coming out in November. Yay! I can't wait to see that. And, well, those are my quick thoughts. So, it says it was written by Steve Englehart, Gary Conway, Roy Thomas, and something Temple, right? Oh, I guess it doesn't say right there. But yeah, really, really good Hulk writers. I love all these writers. So thank you for watching. That's all I have to say right now for this Epic Collection, and have a good day.